Landale, a career-high 26 points this evening for Jock Landale. He had 17 in the first half. His previous career high was 18. 12 of 15 from the floor, just 1 of 4 beyond the arc, but he added 7 rebounds, and he also had 2 assists in this ballgame and a couple of steals. Only 1 turnover, and that occurred in 35 minutes of play. 26 points for Jock Landale. Ultimate performance brought to you by BMW of San Antonio. All right, let's take a look at individual scoring. First of all, for the visitors from Indy, among their starters, Tyrese Halliburton, 19 points. He also had 10 assists, 15 points each for Isaiah Jackson and Chris Duarte. 8 rebounds, by the way, for Duarte tonight. 17 points for Buddy Hield. O'Shea Brissett had 9 points and 7 boards. Off the bench, 19 points for Dwayne Washington Jr. He had 19 in the first half, did not score in the second half. And interesting thing about him, his career high was 22. 10 points for Goga Batadze and 9 for Kiefer Sykes, 6 for Jalen Smith. Adds up to 119.
Hello, Christian.
108 for the Spurs, and their leading scorer came off the bench, Jock Landale, with 26. Lonnie Walker with 20 off the bench, and then the other 2 bench scorers were Primo with 2. He was just 1 for 8 tonight, and Keita Bates-Diop with 2. He was 1 for 2 in 8 minutes. Among the starters, 19 points for Devin Vassell. He was 3 of 6 beyond the arc. 16 points for Josh Richardson. He was 2 of 7 from 3-point range. Doug McDermott turned an ankle early and left the ballgame after playing only 3 minutes, so the Spurs were basically down to 8 guys after that. Collins had 9 points and 5 rebounds in this ballgame. He had a block as well. And as we mentioned, Trey Jones, 9 points, 12 assists. That's a career high, by the way, for Trey Jones on assists. He also had 10 rebounds this evening. And that's up to 119 for the Pacers, 108 for the Spurs. And again, the Spurs see their record drop to 26 and 42. The Pacers now 23 and 45. Next up for the Spurs, they take on the Minnesota Timberwolves on Monday night. 119-108, Pacers over the Spurs. Spurs Radio continues in a moment.
Navy Federal Credit Union. Proudly.
All right, that was Bill Schoening. Spurs lose tonight, however, and welcome in. I see Christian Picardo and Michael Phillips. Welcome in. Well, there were a lot of guys out of the lineup tonight. Keldon Johnson was out. I just lost there it is. Keldon Johnson was out tonight. It was a back-to-back. So
you do the next 2, so you can fly through.
Okay, gotcha. So no Keldon Johnson tonight, no DeJounte Murray, no Jakob Poeltl. Those are 3 of your big players, so that's tough. And it was a back-to-back. So would have been great to win this one, but going into it, Devontae Kaycock out, in addition to Keldon Johnson, DeJounte Murray, Jakob Poeltl, Joe Wieskamp. I mean, it was going to be a tough one to win tonight. So, Brian Birdie, I saw your great photos on social media, Military Appreciation Night tonight. USAA does a great job all the time partnering with the Spurs. So that was very, very cool. I got a couple of segments to do here. David Valles, welcome. Jason Delgado, Veronica Mars. Here we go. From the Spurs Net Center, I'm Chris Duel. Final score tonight from the AT&T Center. The Indiana Pacers defeat the San Antonio Spurs 119-108. Programming note on the flagship station, Spurs Radio 1200 WOAI. Our Spurs React is coming up. But first, let's get you caught up on scores from around the league. 6 other games in the NBA tonight. Warriors lead the Bucks midway fourth quarter at San Francisco at the Chase Center, 112-95. 36 for Klay Thompson tonight in that one. In Denver, 4:49 to go in the third quarter. Nuggets lead the Raptors by 1, 80-79. In Salt Lake City, the Jazz, who fell to the Spurs last night, 3:47 to go in the third quarter. Jazz lead the Sacramento Kings 97-86. In Portland, the Trailblazers lead the Washington Wizards 41-28 early second quarter. Final scores from earlier tonight. The Minnesota Timberwolves went into Miami and got a win over the Heat, 113-104. And the Chicago Bulls win at home over the Cleveland Cavaliers, 101-91. Once again, the final score from the AT&T Center, the San Antonio Spurs fall to the Indiana Pacers, 119-108. Spurs Radio continues in a moment.
Founder and president of South Texas.
All right, Leland Bruce, welcome. Jason Delgado, delay of game at the end. Yeah, that was very funny. Was that Tyrese Halliburton where he's like holding the ball and Pop reaches out and hits the ball? That was cool. That was really cool. Whoa! Here's the big news. The big news is Brian Birdie made the Kiss Me Cam tonight. That's the kind of headline I'm looking for, Brian Birdie. Very nice, sir. And I hope, Mr. Birdie, I hope you performed admirably on the Kiss Me Cam. I'm just saying. Fonzie J. Rodriguez. Yeah, Fonzie, I wrote some people today. I said, now I have to hate the Chicago White Sox because they signed Joe Kelly with his ridiculous faces and throwing pitches to try to hurt Houston Astros batters. Fonzie, I'm a big fan of yours, but I'm no fan of Joe Kelly. At least he didn't sign with the Cubs. I like the Cubs better than I like the White Sox in Chicago. But, yeah, now I will not be a White Sox fan till Joe Kelly is gone. Brian Birdie with his Kiss Me Cam emojis. Very nice, sir. Now, Brian, you're a very connected guy. The people in the booth at the AT&T Center might have the video of you on the Kiss Me Cam. I'm just saying. Oh, was it Buddy Hield? Okay, David, thank you. I had that wrong. From the Spurs Net Center, I'm Chris Duel. Final score tonight from the AT&T Center. The Indiana Pacers defeat the San Antonio Spurs 119-108. We've got Spurs React coming up on the flagship station, Spurs Radio 1200 WOAI. We also stream live video of Spurs React on 1200 WOAI's Facebook and Twitter pages. So you're not only joining us, but a lot of other Spurs fans from across Texas and around the world join us there. You can interact live and in real time on the live video feed. We'll do that after a quick wrap-up from Bill Schoening at the AT&T Center, where he had the call tonight as the Spurs fall to the Indiana Pacers 119-108. Spurs Radio continues in a moment.
Becky Hammond, I'll be the first woman to coach in the NBA.
Tucker Park, what is up? Yeah, 71-64 at the half. But Tucker, as you know, Spurs went on a 14-2 run at the end of that first half. They were down 19, 69-50 with 2:50 to go in the half. And then they poured it on. They went on a 14-0 run, turned into a 14-2 run as the Pacers scored the last bucket of the first half. So at 71-64, I thought we had a shot. Yeah, Jason, thank you on the Buddy Hield. I appreciate that. Yeah, Veronica React was outstanding last night, as was all the coverage. Hopefully you've all, gone and seen all the great footage from last night and all the accolades for Coach Greg Popovich. I'm thinking 5. Thank you, sir. Yeah, Joanne, with so many players out and it was a back-to-back, this was going to be a tough one to get. I would have loved it if they got it, but they did not. So, Here's Bill.
Our broadcast engineer, Sam Walters, our statistician, Walter Stoops. Next game for the Spurs, Monday night against Minnesota. That'll be a 7:30 start. We'll be on the air at 7 o'clock with Spurs Radio Game Night. And that game televised by our friends, by the way, at Valley Sports. As always, for all things Spurs, follow us on Twitter, Spurs.com, or the Spurs app. Our studio producer this evening, Mike Bartlett. Our studio host, Chris Duel. This is Bill Sheldon. Thank you for joining us this evening. The Indiana Pacers with the win over the Spurs. The final score, 119-108. This has been a presentation of Spurs Sports and Entertainment and the National Basketball Association. All rights reserved. Good night, everybody.
Spurs Radio Game Night Rewind has been brought to you by
Look at this.
AT&T, the game we live for, the codes we live by, and by
I just got a text from Brian Birdie with his Kiss Me Cam image. Look at this. We have Brian Birdie on Kiss Me Cam. How cool is that? Wow. Brian Birdie, not everybody gets that. That is so cool. That is tremendous, man. Good for you. The woman in the row behind you, very excited that you were on Kiss Me Cam. That is great. That is tremendous. On a night that the Spurs fall, that's a cool moment. All right. Way to go, Brian Birdie. And for everybody else, I mention this a lot. And Brian had a great photo as well on social media. Oh, we're already back. I'll have to mention that later. Here we go. 50. Well, tonight is a little bit different than last night. Last night was historic. Last night was beautiful. Last night was memorable as Coach Gregory Charles Popovich became the winningest coach in NBA history. Got that regular season record over Don Nelson last night at 1,336. And he already had regular season plus postseason. So this was a back-to-back tonight against the Indiana Pacers. And it was a different night, and the Spurs fell to the Pacers 119-108. This is Spurs React on Spurs Radio 1200 WOAI. I'm Chris Duel. Michael Bartlett makes the entire broadcast go from beginning to end. Now, when the Spurs win, like last night, Michael Bartlett is the Mr. Rogers of sports talk radio. It's always a beautiful day in his neighborhood when the Spurs win. But when the Spurs lose, he becomes Michael the Butcher Bartlett. He's not happy. It's like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. It's amazing what a win or a loss can do to Michael Bartlett. Now, as we look at this from the get-go, if you paid attention, Spurs had a lot of key players out. Keldon Johnson out for rest. It was a back-to-back. DeJounte Murray was out with a left calf contusion. Jakob Poeltl was out with low back soreness. Those are three of your key players that were out. You also had Devontae Cacok out with a left heel contusion. Romeo Langford had a hamstring strain. You had a couple of the new guys, DJ Stewart and Robert Woodard, were with the Austin Spurs. And Joe Wieskamp was out with congestion. Those are a lot of guys out. Then 3 minutes in, Doug McDermott sprains his ankle. So the Spurs were down to 8 from almost the get-go. The Spurs were down to 8 players in this game. So it was going to be tough. They fought hard. At the end of the first half, the Spurs, after falling down by 19, went on a 14-0 run, which turned into a 14-2 run as the Indiana Pacers scored the final bucket of the first half. Halftime score was Pacers 71, Spurs 64. At single digits, it was looking good. But the Pacers, they outmanned the Spurs tonight. They were able to just put more players out there, and with 8 guys, and not your regular 8 guys, not your top 8 guys to go after it tonight, it was just very, very difficult. I do want to, and Bill Schoening mentioned him as well. Jock Landale, you got to love him. His career high, 26 points tonight, 7 rebounds and 2 assists. So Jock Landale of the Spurs certainly brought it tonight. It was, to be honest, with all of those players out of the lineup tonight on a back-to-back, and then losing Doug McDermott 3 minutes in to a sprained ankle, it was going to be tough to win tonight. So I would recommend, and oh, by the way, I also recommend that you put your clocks forward tonight at 2 a.m. It is daylight saving time tonight, early Sunday morning. 2 a.m. becomes 3 a.m. with the spring forward. But I am going to choose not to dwell on this Spurs loss tonight, but to revel in the glory of last night and that great Greg Popovich historic win, which made him the winningest coach in NBA history in the regular season. And as we know, he already had regular season plus postseason. If you haven't gone around and looked at some of not only the video from the locker room, but video tributes from the Spurs organization, from multiple sports websites, and from around the world. It was a great night for the Spurs last night. And even though we lose the next night to the Pacers, I think we should continue to celebrate. And let's go out and get a win on Monday night. Next game for the Spurs, Monday night against the Minnesota Timberwolves, AT&T Center. The homestand continues. Wednesday night against the Oklahoma City Thunder. Both of those games pregame at 7 on Spurs Radio 1200 WOAI and across the Spurs Radio Network. A big thanks for Bill Schoening. Great call, as always, in his 21st year as the radio voice of the San Antonio Spurs. On-site engineer Sam Walters always does a great job, as does veteran statistician Walter Stoops. For those gentlemen, and Michael Bartlett, who makes the entire broadcast go from beginning to end in the Spurs radio control room, I'm Chris Duel. Once again, the final score, the Indiana Pacers defeat the San Antonio Spurs 119-108. We will see you on Monday night. This has been Spurs React on Spurs Radio 1200 WOAI.